Here.
Silly.
Here. All right, everyone's here tonight. We need approval of the minutes of the June 2nd, 2014 council meeting.
Second.
A motion is second to approve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes have been approved. Brings us to election and appointments. Very good.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's my privilege to administer the oath of office to the City of Heath's newest firefighter. His name is Jamie Jones. Jamie, if you would please meet me up front. Jamie's been with the department now about 3 months. Not too bad. And came to us, you've lived here, if not all your life, quite a bit of it, right? And came to us with experience in the airports department, I believe. Yeah, and so he's been a great addition to the department. Got up to speed real quick, pretty sharp guy, and we're glad to have him on. So if you'll allow me, I see that's come up a question by some of your colleagues. So if you'll allow me, we'll make it official. Please raise your right hand. I, Jamie J. Jones, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America, the Constitution and the laws of the State of Ohio, and the Charter of the City of Heath, Ohio, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties required of me as a firefighter paramedic of the City of Heath Fire Department, to which I have been appointed. So help me God. Congratulations.
Well, let's see, what can we say about it? The mayor's already said enough. No, graduated in 1999 from the City of Heath school system. As the mayor mentioned, he's got air crash rescue firefighter training. He worked full-time over at Fort Columbus. So we're going to take some of that and put it to our advantage over here at Heath Airport. And he's going to make the fire protection a little better over there. Gosh, he works 2 part-time jobs besides, of course, the airport no longer in the picture. He's with us, but you're working part-time at Hebron. You're going to start working part-time at Granville here in the next month or so. And he's got all the credentials and such. We're going to send him to inspector school a little later and make him smarter. We've kind of done away with and gone to our patch, or Miller designed actually, but it's still tradition that a pitting ceremony, they do it with nurses and firefighters. So anyway, in lieu of parents being here because of some other previous engagements, I believe you want the captain to have one.
Here you go, Captain.
The old man. The old man. So with that, draw blood. Jamie also volunteered with us for several years, so we were familiar with his capabilities, and we're just fortunate that things worked out the way they did. So.
Carl, come on back up.
And get ready to talk about yourself.
Alright. Jamie, go ahead and talk about yourself.
I've been around the city of Heath pretty much my entire life. Grew up here, graduated high school here with JBS for auto mechanics. My dad owned Jay's Towing. Started my fire career 13 years ago. I towed a fire truck, and I asked the fire chief how I got into the fire service from there, and so we'll hold here a hand. It's been a fun ride, it's been a long ride, but finally made it to where I want to be. So I'm happy to be with these guys, and happy to be here and serve all you guys. So thank you. Thanks, Mr. President.
Thank you. Special orders and committees, there are none. Unfinished business, there's none. Petition and communications, there's none. And that's going to bring us to visitors. And before we get into visitors, what I'd like to try, since that mic isn't working, I want to see if we can take this microphone, bring that closer, John, and put this microphone. See if it works. Does this microphone work? Can you hear me well? Okay.
Yeah.
You'll be up close and personal here, but at least everyone will be able to hear.
Or like,
Now check it out, see, John. Just talk to see, like you're standing there. Hello? Can you hear all right?
yes. Yeah.
Much better.
Much better.
All right. Now we got that solved. Be careful of the cord in the floor there.
99.
Okay, now it brings us to the visitor section. Any visitor like to speak, approach the podium, state your name and address. And also, if you do speak, make sure you sign into the sign-in sheet back there so we have the correct spelling of your name. And and we'll give you 5 minutes, and we'll go from there.
First of all,
I'll dial that back.
Go ahead, Wayne.
first of all, you ought to be embarrassed at your sound system. We put, those, yes, megaphones, for each one of you 4 years ago, and you're still relying on this piece of crap. Well, I'm here representing this great bunch of people, and we're supporting the mayor in his bid to repeal the tax. We will be waiting to hear from your votes, and we will vote accordingly. Thank you.
Next visit.
Hi, my name is Nancy Freese. I live at 329 Clinton Drive. I'm here just to, this is not my thing to do. So, things that happened in the city of Heath has been fantastic. And you guys had the Halloween thing here. I raised 4 children, and I have 3 grandchildren. And I brought my 3 grandchildren over here, and we had so much fun. And I know that there's things that goes on the David J. House, but I have never attended it. And I've talked to so many people who was so excited over the Halloween thing. We came back for the Christmas. And then for the activities that you guys have had for the parade, oh my, I cried. I'm an emotional person, but I did cry. I mean, that was huge. I have a son-in-law who has 10 years in the Air Force. And we brought them back from Montana, and fortunately, we got them a house here in Heath, and so we've got 2 grandchildren, Durham, and 10 Heath. We want more of this. I listen to people in Heath, and I'm in the stores, and they said, this is so wonderful that Heath is recognizing the people here and doing things, the activities. I'm so excited. I'm so excited, and I hope we have a lot more of it here. So, you know, I don't know where you're at with the David J. House, how much happens there, but the Friendship Club that had put this on, it is huge. It is huge. And I just want you to know from the people from Newark and all over, they're excited. They said Heath is growing. I just hope to see a lot more here. Thank you.
Next visitor.
My name is Sharon Becker. I live at 1174 South 30th Street in Heath. And why can't we have both? I've been to the Davis Shea House for quite a few of the functions. I've taken my grandchildren to the Easter, to the Halloween, all the Christmas things, all that stuff at the Shea House, and we had a wonderful, wonderful time. There's new leadership there right now. Whether we like or dislike that leader doesn't mean, well, we just throw it away because we have somebody different and we don't like them or whatever. I feel that we have room in this city to keep the Shea House and still have the activities that we're having now. City of Heath is growing, and a lot of people do come here for the activities. A lot of people move here because of the activities, the schools, and so on. And I feel that these people deserve to have it all. I don't feel that we're going bankrupt because of the Shea House. I'm not a member of the Friendship Committee or a volunteer at the Shea House, but I do go there for activities. And I still think that the city of Heath should think about keeping it. Thank you.
Next visitor.
I'm like the other lady, I'm not used to this either, but Dolly Landrum, I live at 35 Lincoln View Drive. I've lived here since 1968. And I live close to Hoback Park, and that's what I wanted to compliment the city on and the commissioners. You go down there, you cannot find a parking place. That's how much it's used. I had to park up by the water department last one time when I was there. I got pinned in another time because there's no place to park. You see young people screaming, yelling, and carrying on. And as I said, I live close, so I enjoy listening to them. And they go from 5:30 in the afternoon till after 9 o'clock at night. And I think there's some adults maybe playing down there, or teenagers or whatever. But the lights are on, and it's good for the community to have a place like this. And they, I really enjoy it, and it's really packed. If you haven't been to Hoback Park this year, you should make a trip down there and see how parking is, and they get a parking place when there's games. Thank you very much.
Next visitor.
I'm not a resident of Heath, but I'm a neighbor. I live at 1475 Beaver Run Road in Hebron. And,
I'm sorry, ma'am, what's your name?
Joan Satina. Didn't I say it?
That's right.
I'm here with a concern that I've had for quite a few years. Well, I've been a resident of Hebron for 8 years, and in all those years, I have expressed a need for repair of a road at the end of the end of Beaver Run where it joins Thornwood. It's a small patch of road, but it's like really, I'm in a quandary. as to why no one has taken responsibility for doing something about the condition of that small patch of road, which is like when you drive over it, it's pockmarked, it's very much akin to an old-fashioned washboard. I've been to Hebron meetings where they said they were responsible for it, and it wasn't until I read in the newspaper that all of a sudden Hebron is not responsible for that section of road. And at least that was confirmed at a meeting that I attended, that despite all the years of their assurances that it would be fixed, and it never was, now it seems like it's the responsibility of Heath. And so here I am. This is my first meeting here, and I'm pleading for consideration in doing a decent repair job. Actually, it's been patched, just here and there, but to no avail. It never results in any, not even short-term improvement. So, my question is, am I correct in the fact that that section of road is in fact the responsibility of Heath?
You can vote for this, but John, do you know?
Yes, you are correct.
Okay.
It is the responsibility of Heath. So, a point for you also, you may want to know that we are paving Thornwood Drive sometime this summer. And if we have enough money, it is all about money. We're going to try and take the paving up to that point. I can't sit here tonight and guarantee it. That's our goal, if we can stretch the money out.
Maybe you started that. Well, I don't know if you're aware of the amount of traffic that is on that road, day in, day out, 24/7. I sit on my side porch because I live right on 37 in Beaver Run. And in a 5-minute period, I counted 100 cars going by. And a large portion of that was making right and left-hand turns heading east on Beaver Run Road. And they have nowhere to go but the end of Beaver Run and making a left on 3rd Thornwood. And do a traffic study if you don't believe me, but please take that into consideration. Thank you.
Tim, you mind if I just ask a question? John, can I ask you a question real quick? Okay. First of all, thanks for coming tonight and bringing that to our attention, and glad you were able to make it. Where do you see the most amount of deterioration? Is it actually in the middle of the intersection on Thornwood, or is it to one side on Beaver Run? Because I'm not familiar with the condition of that particular intersection.
I can tell you that. If you're headed east on Beaver Run Road,
Okay.
it's not so bad if you're making a left-hand turn on Thornwood.
Okay.
It's when you're coming from the other direction. And sometimes I swerve around it.
Okay. When you're actually still on Beaver Run? When you're actually still on Beaver Run, you're on Thornwood.
Isn't the berm bad? Isn't it towards the berm? Is the deterioration the berm?
It's the whole thing.
The entire intersection is,
Okay.
the entire intersection is really got one spot.
The reason why I was asking is I just wanted to see if, the paving is on Thornwood. I wanted to make sure that we weren't, if the damage was on Beaver Run,
It is, where they meet, one approaches on the other side, they say, well, Beaver Run stops and Thornwood.
Gotcha.
But if you were to go on Thornwood Drive right up to the property line of the house at the end of it, which is what you need to do to correct the problem.
Thanks again, Jim. Appreciate it.
Next is
Goodwin, 1611 Hebron Road. I, like most of these people in here, have been part of Heath for a long time also. I've only lived here about 14 years, but I have been coming here. I'm over 50. I've been brought here from a child. And I came here willingly. I was a transplant, wanted to be here. Dwayne brought our business here about 4 years before that. So all I've tried to do in the past 5 years that I've been coming to council meeting is to make things, or make council and us look more accountable, you might say. Trying to get answers, trying to get minutes, and trying to get more information from our minutes. So I'm definitely looking at all accountability sides of this, and I certainly understand the Arts Council side, I understand the previous volunteers, and I understand the time and effort that's been put into the Davis Shea House. I, for one, like the Shea House. I don't want to see it close. I don't think it desperately has to change its nuance or anything. But however, I do believe that we need to repeal the tax. It's a lot of money, and it could help some other issues that we have in our city. So I am under the understanding that when we did this new 10-year contract with them, it was to wean them off of city money, not necessarily that money, but direct payroll money. We're still paying all the utilities, all the insurance, and we give 95% of our bed tax. And we get this little statement that says they don't have to open their books to the city. I'm sorry, but when you accept tax dollars, whether they're constituents from the city or people that stay in our hotels, it's other people's money, it's tax dollars, and it needs to be accounted for, regardless. That's how I feel. I know you want some more time on this. I understand, Deb. I know you want more time. Maybe we need a little more time. I don't know, but I also want to make a comment about yesterday's event, because I don't know how it went over. I didn't get to go. I did check online because my 88-year-old father-in-law is in a nursing home, and we were trying to find something for him to do. I looked it up online and thought about going. Ironically, I couldn't find that information on the Advocate today that I saw yesterday because it seemed to have disappeared. But it said something like RSVP. Did we have to call to make arrangements to be there? I would like to know that answer. And I guess, from what a friend told me, that they tried to go over and park. They were getting parked in GFS and behind there and so forth. I guess we'd have had to walk my father-in-law with his walker to get there, so I decided not to go. Also saw that it was advertised till 6 p.m. I heard it was packed up and gone before 5:30. That's just what I'm hearing, just passing it along. Thank you very much.
Next visit.
I'm Dale Broyles. I'm at 1867 City Circle. And I can see her concerns, but I have our cars at the program yesterday or Saturday. There were several people who drove up and they said, my mother and my father can't walk. I said, go ahead and pull your car out there. Nobody, I was there, nobody had to walk with walkers from GFS, no up there. They all came in. Now, I did it maybe 4 or 5 times. And I gave everybody a ticket, even though only one person out of the car. Especially the older folks, I gave them tickets for the house price, for the door price. So that was my 2 cents. Thanks.
Let me make sure that no one else has spoken for everything past there. Anyone else, any other visitors?
One other can.
Yeah, you still got some minutes on here.
And the program was over at 5. It was not 5:36, it was over at 5.
Any other first-time visitors or speakers? People speaking for the first time tonight. Let's speak. Seeing none, yes, I'll let you speak one more time. 3 minutes this time, though, we'll reduce it to 3 minutes.
Very quick. Once again, my name is Nancy Freeze, 329 Clinton Drive. I kind of wonder, since I'm here, what is the ruling of someone buying a house on 79 that's I don't know if they bought it as a business property. Can't remember the address, but it's right there just past Clinton Drive. Weimers own it. What is the restrictions on grass height with cluttering the property really bad?
I think the best thing to do is refer you to Mr. Groff, speaking of those kind of complaints. And
Standard, 8 inches, anything higher than 8 inches is outside of the city ordinance.
Okay.
And if we're informed about it, a lot of times we can see them on our own. A lot of times we don't. If someone informs us about it, we'll investigate. If the property is in violation for high grass, we'll send them a violation. Is there anything else besides the grass?
Well, when we moved there, everything was so beautiful. Everybody kept their properties up. I mean, we're kind of surrounded by houses right now. It's kind of disappointing. On the corner of Clinton Drive, you got the house there, the Green Rivers. You know, it's disgusting.
Violation out today for that.
Okay, I love the people, they're really sweet people, but this is gonna be a joke. 2 houses down, which is the Weimers. I know he's a volunteer for the fire department or something. He goes out on calls and stuff, but he's cleaned up the front finally, but the back is crap. I mean, he's cleaning up some, but he's planting trees now to hide his crap. And then grass is really high. He's dumping grass with mows around the tree. And I'm not kidding you, it's this tall and probably 10 to 15 feet wide. And I know we've got mice and crazy coming in now. I take good care of my property. You know, I'm very respectful for my neighbors and stuff, and too, I like a nice home anyway. But it's to the point where it's ridiculous.
Look.
I mean, I know you guys can't see it from the front now, but, because he used to have it in the front, but he's moved all the dirt now to the back. He's got this grass pile, this keeps growing, he keeps dumping it, and it stinks. And, you know.
Oddly, there are things we can do and there are things we can't do.
Okay.
I have to take a look at the property first.
Okay.
Mounds of grass just sitting there isn't a violation. High grass, I don't wanna take everyone's time on
Well,
it.
I realize, I just wanna know what the rights are that we have. I mean, he's probably a nice guy and stuff.
Well, there's nothing to do with that.
Right, but, you know, I take care of my property, I expect everybody around me to take care of their property. You know, you can have little things and stuff, and I'm just, you know, I'm not trying to be too loud or anything. I haven't said anything, I'm trying to be respectful, but I just wanna know what my rights are.
Well, we have limits to what we can do, but I need to take a look at it before I can answer the question in regards to what can be done. Some things we can do, some we can't. And you may not be satisfied with the plans that I give you, but there are some things we can do to help you out.
Okay.
So, can I ask one question? Is that your name?
Yeah, it's Nancy, last name is Freeze, it's Freas.
And what's your phone number, Nancy?
It's 522-8422.
Let me take a look at it.
Thank you.
all right. Last call for visitors to speak. Okay. Oh, me too. You first and you're second.
Okay, my name is Carolyn Erbsen. I live at 95 Clarendon Drive. like to just know tonight, when you make the motion again, could you tell us how this goes about, the voting, and what happens if the voting goes a certain way? Are you privileged to say that? Like, are you going to vote tonight on the Davis Shea House?
It's on for the second reading.
Okay.
Which means I'll bring it up. Now, it could either be voted on, either yes or no, whichever way it goes, or it could be tabled.
Okay.
Right now, I think it may be tabled.
Okay. So then what happens if it's tabled?
Well, if it's tabled, then next time we have a meeting, a council person could make a motion to bring it off the table, and if he or she gets a second, and gets enough votes to take it off the table, it can come off the table and then be voted on then.
Okay.
All right. If no one brings it off the table next meeting, it can wait till the next meeting.
Okay.
And it could stay on the table for as long as it takes for someone to take it off the table.
I see. And how many people vote on the motion?
There's 7 council members.
Seven
So all 7 council members, if they're here, would vote.
Okay.
It would take 4 to do anything tonight. 4 yes votes to table, or 4 yes votes to pass, and 4 yes votes to defeat. You take 4.
I know that's been a very hard issue that you've been thinking about. And I want to share that the Friendship Club is not out to sink the Davis Shea House. We have 12 wonderful years that we served in that capacity. It's just the last couple of years that we've had difficulty with it. It was a lot of time that we spent there. We had a lot of fun taking care of our customers. We had a lot of fun being a group. I guess the thing that I'm very concerned about is why would 50 volunteers walk away from a facility that we love and still love? And I think that's what I want you to think about is, look where that house was in 1996. Look where it was 2 years ago. I'm not sure because we are not privileged to review the paperwork. And I do not understand when you have public money going into a facility that we are denied that right as a citizen. Whether it be of Licking County, the state of Ohio, that is privileged information when you use public money. And we have never been able to have that paperwork. I guess I challenge that. Can any councilman answer that question? Why are we denied repeatedly paperwork?
I don't know the answer to the question.
There is no answer?
Like I said, I don't know the answer.
Who's responsible to know it?
I think, Carolyn, if you're looking at me for an answer, I'm not versed enough in the law to be able to give you a definitive answer. I understand where you're coming from. I'm not saying that what you're saying doesn't make sense, isn't logical, but that's different than the actual legal obligations, whether or not they're there or not. And I don't pretend to be knowledgeable enough in that law to suspect what you're doing.
Have you been privileged to see the paperwork?
Council, what was it, back in February or March? Jill, do you recall, was it February or March, the report to the February? Okay, so back in February, as part of a service that's outlined in the management agreement between the city and the Arts Council. The Arts Council provided to City Council a financial analysis, a financial report, so to speak, on 2013, and then also presented information that was a proposed budget for 2000, or maybe it was an approved budget. I don't know, the board members may recall, but anyway, a budget for 2014. This was back in February.
I guess, and again, I have another
I couldn't
question.
remember, thanks.
I have another question is, when Mrs. Wilkins was there the 12 years, did she not have that paperwork available to all the council as well as the citizens of Heath?
I can't remember if she did or not, but I wanted to say that when the financial report was presented, it was presented at an open meeting, and there were citizens there who had access to that information, just as council did. There were copies of the information, and
And which meeting are you referring to?
it was at the Parks, Recreation, and Davis Shea Committee meeting.
At when?
In February.
In
In February.
Yeah.
And there were, if I recall correctly, it was information that I would probably describe as similar to to the type of financial report that Jan had provided to council. It had line items on it that had a description of the like the total of expenditures for, supplies, or the total expenditures for food or whatever. So there's kind of line items on it, and then it showed what the expenditures were from a revenue perspective. Again, line items that showed different types of revenue. Again, this was information that the Arts Council presented to the City Council in an open meeting. I would venture to guess that since, of course, all council committee meetings are open and public meetings, that information is available to the public. I'm sure you probably could ask Jill; she could probably get you a copy of it. If not, Deb, I'm sure you probably have a copy of it since you're the chair of the committee, and we can make that available. So.
Okay, now, in the understanding of repealing the bed tax, I got the figure from Mr. Alexander that the figure was like $118,000. And that's the amount of money that you want possibly repealed. And to my understanding is you would like to be able to distribute that money in a more, let's say, appropriate part for different events in Heath, where people come to our community to enjoy our community, to bring business into our community, whether it be hotels, shopping, restaurants, and so on. Is that correct? That's what the bed tax is for?
And you said the $118,000, that was what it was for 2014. It varies each year.
Right.
It's just guaranteed to be $75,000. And the mayor, has ideas about things that he would like to do. But I guess I would say, I'm not here to really talk so much about what we should or shouldn't do with it. I'm here to talk about getting more information so that we can make a decision that protects the city from litigation. There are a lot of unanswered questions, and we have time. They have the money until the end of the year, and so why would we rush to do something, in my opinion, that doesn't have to be rushed? I think I'm quoted in the paper saying due diligence. I think that we owe that to all of you on either side of that, and it doesn't matter whether we support the Davis Shea House now, whether we supported it then, or we never supported it. It matters that we represent you and protect you from potential litigation and from other things. There's a lease agreement in place that we need to respect, and we need to work with the Arts Council if we want to see change there. So that's my perspective.
I think that by you sharing these kinds of things with us, I think that you have given us some very honest and good answers for us to listen to the whole process. And that's all we ask of you, is let us know what's going on. Let us be able to voice our opinion. Hopefully you sort of listen to us, and I think you do. I know many of you that are sitting up there, and I appreciate your effort, and I'm sure you've had a few stressful moments over this whole thing. And again, I want to applaud you and thank you for serving our community. Thank you.
If anyone was keeping time on her, she went over the 5 minutes. I gave credit for the mayor speaking and Deb speaking, so I didn't penalize her for them speaking. So in case anyone was checking on the fact that she was up there for more than 5 minutes.
Nobody got the hook out for it.
Yeah, we didn't have the hook in forever off the stage. So, sir, you wanted to speak next.
My name's John Farabee. I am employed at the Davis Shea House. I live at 249 North Wayne Street. And 2 weeks ago, I come up and talked to you folks. And then I went home and sat out on my porch a little bit and kind of thought about things. And we're all in here for one thing, and one thing only, is the good of the Shea House. Now, in saying that, when I look back at when I got hired there and Jill Ladwick was hired there, it was a war zone. A total war zone. We were threatened. We got phone calls, everything. Okay, everybody knows about it. I'm not hiding anything. Now, as you look at things, and you look at things clearly, Jill wasn't the one that did $1.2 million. Jill was put in there to do a job, to make it a profit margin, and not a social club. Jill was put in there to move it forward, and that's exactly what she has tried to do.
And what happened?
Okay. Now, about 21 months later, we're up here and we're talking about this, and I'm still trying to figure all this out, because if I'm not very, business-like or anything like this, but if I invested in something for $1,000, I would surely want some return on my investment. But this has been going on for 11 years. And now, all the focus is on the last 21 months that we were put in that facility. Now, again, I only work at the Davis Shea House. I only can hear and see things. So what I hear and see is it's a money pit. It's failed. It's been ran into the ground for the last 11 years. Now, come on. If we really care as much as we say we do for the Shea House, why are we going through this? Why can't we just all get together and do what's right for the Shea House if we know what we're doing? If we know what's right for the Shea House. I love the Shea House personally. I love working there. We've went through a lot of growing pains. A lot of different things have happened at the Shea House. I enjoy it. I love the volunteers. I love everything everybody goes through there. And we work hard. All I can tell you people and ask you people is please use diligence. Think about it. Thank you very much.
Any other visitors? Seeing none, I'll call the visitor section closed. We move on to committee reports. John, could you bring that mic back up here? Committee reports, finance and budget, Mr. Craig.
Mr. President, Finance Committee met this evening, 7 legislative requests. First one, amend language in the codified ordinance section number 15931 to reflect current policy regarding group insurance. The second item, adopt the municipal bond post-issuance policy as approved revised bond council. Third item, appropriate $81,700, which was a grant for the fire department. Self-contained breathing apparatus. Fourth item, appropriate $12,257.37 from the general fund to transfer the streets to cover erosion, clean out expense. Fifth item, appropriate $8,000 from the law enforcement service contract. Sixth item, appropriate $8,000 from law enforcement funds for civil services. Seventh item, appropriate $4,000 from the general fund office supplies.
Thank you.
Other items, Auditor Alexander reported that sold on eBay a 1978 John Deere tractor for $4,000 $375 on a brush car lift quote of $661.55. Deb, anything else to add?
No.
No,
thank you.
Kim Gill.
No, not this time.
Thank you. Both Debs were fine.
Public services, Mr. Morrow.
Thank you, Mr. President. The next meeting of the Public Service Committee will be next Monday, June 23rd, here in City Hall. John Bell or anything?
Nothing to add.
Thank you.
Public safety, Mr. Johnson.
Mr. President, I want to defer to Councilman Hopkins, I was absent at that.
Thank you. The safety committee met, was called to order at 5:32 p.m. Chief Mason gave his report. Calls for service were 1,306 compared to 1,420 in 2013. Offense reports 120 compared to 185. Arrests 51 compared to 57. Accidents 32 compared to 29. And citations 62 compared to 80 in 2013. Overtime usage for May, $19,021. The year-to-date, $62,369.05. A lot of the overtime pay was due to illness and injury. Alarms, there were 18 total, 1 residential and 17 commercial. The migration to the mobile alley is completed, and all cars are using it, and they're working well, and we felt it was a very good product. New cars, the 1 charger is complete, and 1 is almost complete. The K9 unit is delayed by a parts back order. Hopefully we will have it next week. 2 cars are for sale, the 2006 Mercury Marquis and a 2010 Dodge Charger. Legislative requests, there were none. The mayor asked Chief Mason to give an update on the homicide in Heath. Chief said that this is an ongoing investigation being handled by our department. Nothing is known as to why this happened. The suspect is not saying anything as to why. Chief Mason said he would like to thank the youth police and Lincoln County Sheriff's SWAT team. The family gave us information on where the suspect might be, and with that information, we were able to apprehend the suspect without incident. Chief Huggins asked about the radio problems during the investigation, and Chief Mason said there were a couple of glitches, but nothing major. A discussion followed about our radio system, which is on a 700 level, and we own our own system. There is a statewide system called Marks, and we can access this system. For us to get on that Marks system, we would have to pay a one-time access fee to program our radios, and then we would be charged a $50 fee per month per radio, and the police has about 50 radios. There is legislation being proposed at the state level. One is to do away with the fees, and the second one is to reduce the fees. After a lengthy discussion on the radio systems, Mr. Kidd asked if the police and fire had grant writers. Chief Huggins said one of his crew can do this in-house, and Chief Mason said he has a volunteer who will be learning how to write the grants. With nothing else to report, police adjourned at 6:09 p.m. Fire Chief Huggins gave his report starting at 6:10 p.m. May statistics, fire runs 38 in 2013. Year-to-date 170 compared to 221. EMS runs 181 compared to 158 in 2013. Year-to-date 772 compared to 816. Transports for the month 107 compared to 81 in 2013. Year-to-date 429 compared to 453. Mutual aid given 25, fire 10, and EMS 15. Mutual aid received, not available. The county cannot give us the info we need. Chief Mason said that he would check to see if our dispatch has this information on the log books. The legislative requests, there were none. The monthly expense report, wages was $96,354.36. Overtime was $29,952.66. Year to date, $139,058.65. Spielman and Baker Law, that's one of the reasons why the overtime was up. Equipment, first tires for tire number 10. To replace them all will be a cost of $8,200. We're going to do this at the front end, replace the tires and line for a cost of about $2,500.
That has changed, and I did have to replace all.
Okay, all right. So we replaced them all.
Yes, sir.
Except,
Cost under $8,200, but two different bills.
Two, researching for replacing the 1996 part number 7, and we're gonna check to see what the state bid is on something like that. The equipment fund is getting low, and they have a legislative request for the next meeting. Personnel, the volunteers are on roster, chief is back to full-time status. Under training, we instructed lifeguards. Under old business, number 1, the EMS software finalized and should be online Monday the 16th. 2, a self-contained breathing apparatus should get these within the next week. Federal government paid $81,000 on the grant, and we're going to pay $5,000. The fire levy, we're going to bring something up on this in the very near future. New business, there have been mulch fires in the meeting 5 times so far this year. 2, we've had several structure fires, we've had quick knockdowns, and the system worked well to give us additional manpower. Under other, Tom Gonder, a longtime volunteer, fell and broke his hip, that was operated on last Monday, is doing well. With nothing else to report, we adjourned at 6:29 p.m. Chief Mason, anything to add?
I did some research, did a small correction on this March piece, $20 a month for handheld and portable radios, and they're $40 a month for this.
Chief, anything to add?
Complete report, I didn't have my paperwork last meeting, so I will bring up, I have 2 members that are celebrating the anniversaries the month of June. Jamie Bunn has 18 years with the city, and Ron Worth, who is the grant writer, got us the $86,000 grant for air passes, 15 years with our city. That's all, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Doug, I'll give you just a break here for a minute. I'll skip streets and drainage for a second, go to community development zoning, and you have a break.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. Our next meeting will be at 5:30 p.m. on 7th of July. John, do you have anything?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. All right, Doug, that was your break. Back to streets and drainage.
Appreciate it, Mr. President. The Streets and Drainage Department met this evening at, it was called to order at 5:30, and Bob Geller gave his report. The first item was the 79 water break road repair. That's right there, Ford there and Matthews Ford. The street department used rail patch to cut down on the dust problem that they said was really bad. We have 2 estimates for pave. One is from Kekosing for $30,000 and the Shelley Company for $45,000. The mayor said that he will get with John Geller about that water line. We need to think about maybe moving this line out of the roadway, or there are a lot of unknowns about this whole thing. The main thing is we need to work on getting the road fixed. Second item was spraying the weeds and guardrails. We're also mowing. Third item, the median flowers, they've been planted, and the dead trees were removed, and they were out of warranty, so we kind of lost out on that. We have water, but we need to look into maybe getting a sprinkling system. Overall, it was great, and the mayor wanted to thank Bob for all the hard work he's given. This thing is looking really nice. The The signs that are now on order, and the font was wrong and the color was a little off, but now they are being ordered. We hope to have them in maybe by winter. We're repairing the curbs on the median. There are 4 places that need repair. It's probably caused by the wind or snow plowing, and we're working to get them fixed as soon as possible. Under other items, we need to clean a clog that's near Noah's Ark at Greenbrier, a loft contracting bid of $8,935.37. And also there's a problem in Willow Ridge on the Alpine Circle, and that could be a cost of $3,020 for a total of $12,257.38. Legislative request was okayed and sent to Finance Committee. With nothing else to report, we adjourned at 6 p.m. Bob, anything to add?
Nothing, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Parks Recreation, David Shea. Mrs. Cole.
Thank you, Mr. President. Parks Recreation and Davis Shea met this evening at 6:02. The first item on our agenda was the Star Spangled Celebration at Geller Park, which will be on July 2nd. The Parks Department's busy sprucing up the park for the event. They've been cleaning out trees and getting the weeds out. Once again, as in the past, the city will be taking care of the trash, porta-johns, and ice for the event. The committee has met with the vendors and has that all in place, thanks to our chairperson, Jenna, the mayor's assistant, who's done a fabulous job with a lot of guidance from our former chairperson, John Groff. Fireworks will be set off this year at Geller Park behind the hill to improve the view for those who actually attend at the park. There will still be good sight lines. They did a test for the other places that people park to view, but the mayor felt that was a good idea to have that in a place where people actually drive to the park and get a really good view. T100 will be there to broadcast music at the same time the fireworks are going off. Second item on our agenda, gas line in Geller Park. Brandon Garling from the Energy Co-op approached the city about an easement in Geller Park to install a gas line on the east side of the park from their substation to the south end of the park between the fence line and bike path. It will not disturb anything, and if they did, they'll restore the property. Director Geller will have the law director review the agreement prior to entering into it. Third item, pool repairs and expenses. The activity pool had a major leak, and lining the pipe seems to have worked to take care of that. It's maintaining water. Repairs to date in other areas seem to be working. They may still have to caulk the gutters, which could cost $30,000 to $50,000. Skylight is done and it looks good. Fourth item was the bed tax, and there was discussion of the pros and cons of repealing the bed tax ordinance and how that would impact the city as well as the functions of the Shea House. We got comments from citizens as well as an Arts Council member and the mayor. Fifth item, under other items, Councilman Kelly, President Kelly, and his daughter Paige Kelly talked a little bit about the update on the maps of the bike path that they're putting together. Councilman Kelly has been working on that, and his daughter had an idea to have mile markers, quarter mile, half mile, etc., on the paths like other areas do, and they're going to be working with Director Geller to see if that can happen, and markers could be helpful. Well, markers could be helpful to emergency stops, so I finish reading my sentence. Do you have anything to add, Bob?
Nothing, thanks.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. We adjourn at 7.
Planning Commission, Mr. Craven.
Planning Commission is scheduled to meet next Thursday, June 26th at 7 p.m. John, anything to add?
This time we don't have an agenda. See if there's anything.
You may or may not have a meeting.
Right.
Mayor, John?
Nothing to add.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, brings us to the introduction of ordinances. Ordinance 42, 2014.
Ordinance 42, 2014, an ordinance authorizing the appropriation of $4,335.09 within the general fund of park services to cover expenses for the parade.
Ordinance 42, 2014, be held for second reading.
Mr. President, I apologize, I know this is not usual, but do you mind if I just provide an explanation?
Yeah, go ahead.
Seeing that we have so many people here, and we may or may not have this many people here in 2 weeks when this ordinance is read for a second time and voted on. Just want to make sure you all understand, and I'll do my best to squash any rumors. Although the ordinance does read that this would appropriate a certain amount of money to cover expenses for the Armed Forces Day parade that was held, this is in essence a pass-through of this money. This money was raised by going out to individuals and businesses to help pay for the parade. So this is simply a pass-through of the money that was given to the city of Heath to help put the parade on, that will then, the expenses for which came out of Bob's Parks budget, and that money then will pass through to go to Bob's budget to replace the money paid to those invoices. So I don't want any crazy rumors about the parade costing us $4,000 to put on. That's far from the case. Thanks, Mr. President.
Thank you. Ordinance 43, 2014.
Ordinance 43, 2014, an ordinance authorizing the appropriation of $3,422.24 from the general fund to park services to repair railing on Irving East Bridge.
Mr. President.
Mr. Heflin.
I would like to make a motion that we waive the second reading of ordinance 43, 2014. Second.
A motion second to waive. Roll call.
Morrow?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Rabel?
Yes.
Heffley?
Yes.
Henry?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes. Motion waived to approve.
Mr. President.
Mr. Heflin.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt ordinance 43, 2014.
Second.
A motion is second to adopt. Any comments or discussion?
Mr. President, point of information, I want to thank council for waiving the second reading on this and make sure everyone understands. This is money that the city received from an insurance payment from an automobile that damaged the railing, and so we feel it's best to get that repair paid as quickly as possible. And I do want to say, Chief Mason, kudos to the officers that indicated on the police report that this city property was indeed damaged. That's what enabled the city to secure this funding from the person's insurance company. Please, if you would, make sure that we continue that practice in the future whenever city property is damaged. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any other comments or discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Morrow?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Rabel?
Yes.
Heffley?
Yes.
Henry?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes. Ordinance 43, 2014 has been adopted. Ordinance 44, 2014.
Ordinance 44, 2014, an ordinance to amend section 509.03 of the codified ordinances of the city of Heath, Ohio by adding a subsection A6C relating to noise.
Ordinance 44, 2014 be held as second reading. Ordinance 45, 2014.
Ordinance 45, 2014, an ordinance to amend section 1187.10 of the codified ordinances of the city of Heath, Ohio.
We will set a public hearing for that for Monday, July 21st at 7:10 p.m. That brings us to ordinances on second reading. Ordinance 37, 2014.
Ordinance 37, 2014, an ordinance authorizing the appropriation of $1,516.50 within the Urban North Drivers Paving Fund and $8,158.12 within the 2010 Paving Fund, and transfer to the Capital Improvement Fund to close the funds and end the project.
Mr. President.
Mr. Heffley.
I would like to make a motion that we adopt ordinance 37, 2014.
Second. A motion and a second to adopt. Any comments or discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Morrow?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Rabel?
Yes.
Heffley?
Yes.
Henry?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes. Ordinance 37, 2014 has been adopted. Ordinance 38, 2014.
Ordinance 38, 2014, an ordinance authorizing the appropriation and transfer of $1,690.48 from the Water Capital Improvement Fund to the Franklin Avenue Water Improvement Fund to cover expenses and end the project.
Mr. President.
Mr. Morrow.
I'd make a motion to adopt ordinance number 38, 2015.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt. Any comments or discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Morrow?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Crable?
Yes.
Heffley?
Yes.
Henry?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes, ordinance 38, 2014 has been adopted. Ordinance 40, 2014.
Ordinance 40, 2014, and ordinance waiving bids, authorizing and directing the sale of one 1999 Ford F-150 pickup truck for the wastewater department.
Mr. President,
Mr. Morrow.
make a motion to adopt ordinance number 40, 2014.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt. Any comments or discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Morrow?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Crable?
Yes.
Heffley?
Yes.
Henry?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes. Ordinance 40, 2014 has been adopted. Ordinance 41, 2014.
Mr. President,
Mrs. Cole.
I'd like to make a motion that we table ordinance 41, 2014.
Second.
A motion and a second to table. Roll call.
Morrow?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Crable?
Yes.
Heffley?
No.
Henry?
Yes.
Johnson?
No.
Kelly?
Yes. Ordinance 41, 2014 has been tabled. That's all the ordinances on the second reading. Resolution on first reading, there are none. Resolution on second reading, none. Reports of city officials, Mayor Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Welcome to all visitors. Do want to make mention before we have our next meeting, we will have the city's annual Star Spangled Celebration, which will be on July 2nd. It's always on July 2nd. I think this year it's on a Wednesday, if I recall. Thank you to both people who are in this room that volunteer to help make that event happen, as well as those who are not. As Councilman Cole mentioned, the plan is right now for us to actually launch the fireworks from behind Geller Hill, which will enable the folks who are attending the event, as well as I think some of the folks who live near the park who are to some extent inconvenienced by the event, a great view of the fireworks. Maybe a month or so ago, if you live near Geller Park, or by the sounds of the echoes, you didn't really need to live near Geller Park. You may have heard on a certain weekday evening some loud booms. And what we were doing was, very quietly, without anybody knowing, we had Zambelli Fireworks, who is the fireworks company that's doing the show, shoot some test shots so that we could, and then people on the Star Spangled Committee that volunteer were stationed at different points throughout the city where we know that a lot of people have enjoyed the fireworks, because we wanted to see if they could see the fireworks from the launch point behind Geller Hill. The reports from those individuals was that from the mall parking lot over there by Sears, from the parking lot there over by Walmart, from on down here on 79 where Clark Motors used to be, even the smallest of the shells, the ones that go up in the sky the least, those shells were visible over the tree line on the hill from those different points. And ma'am, I'm sure if, as an old English teacher, there was a better way for me to describe that, but I butchered it, so your red pen can get me at the end of the meeting. So anyway, I think things are shaping up for it to be another outstanding event for the city. We all know that it's the biggest event that the city hosts every year as far as attendance, and I just want to again mention thank you to those who have helped on the Star Spangled Celebration Committee to help organize that event. Bob, am I correct in thinking that this Saturday evening is the thing at the pool where what, Swim Under the Stars or something? I think it's called. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And I think the water park's going to be open till about 8:30, 8:45, something like that. And we do that periodically during the summer. And I know because I go to the water park quite a bit. I know I see a few of you there. So please, if you would, make a point to come out Saturday evening and encourage others to as well. Finally, I'll take some time to comment regarding Ordinance 41 and it being tabled. My conscience is clear in the recommendation that I made to repeal Ordinance 58, 2002. I think it's important. I mentioned this in the committee meeting, and I heard it again at the podium, and I know sometimes I tend to see a reflection of that in media accounts of this particular issue. Ordinance 58, 2002 does not give the bed tax money to the Davis Shea House. The Davis Shea House is a building. The city owns that building. The city will continue to own that building. That ordinance designates that the city must donate at least $75,000 to the Heath Community Arts Council, which is a 501c3 entity, or 95% of the bed tax revenue that the city receives every year, whichever is the greater of the two. Obviously, when you look over the past 10, 12 years, on average, it's a little over $100,000 a year of bed tax money that has gone to the Arts Council. So obviously, it's the 95% that is being applied in those cases. There's nothing in repealing this ordinance that would bulldoze the Shea House. There's nothing that would make it become a pile of bricks. There's nothing in repealing this ordinance that would make the windows of the place boarded up. The city has a lease agreement in place with the Arts Council. The Arts Council is allowed per that lease to use the facility and operate it. The city is obligated per that lease to provide insurance, utilities, trash pickup, any number of things that a landlord typically does, and that agreement would remain in place. That agreement does not become null and void if Ordinance 58, 2002 is repealed. Ordinance 58, 2002 only deals with the requirement that the city of Heath give 95% of the bed tax money every year to the Heath Community Arts Council. Its repeal would not prevent the city of Heath from giving money to the Heath Community Arts Council to help put on events that take place there. Ones that currently have, ones maybe that haven't been thought of yet. There's nothing in repealing that ordinance that prevents the city of Heath from in the future giving money to the Arts Council to help support its mission. I don't understand where this idea comes from that there somehow hasn't been a due diligence process that has taken place. Former Mayor Dupps and current Arts Council board representative mentioned that on May 8th, I had requested a meeting with the Arts Council board where I shared with them the fact that I was going to recommend in the Parks Board Committee meeting on May 19th that I was going to recommend the repeal of Ordinance 58, 2002. I did not dream up that idea on May 7th. This is something that I have looked at for a very, very long time. Months and months and months. I don't believe that Everybody's heard the phrase, the definition of insanity is to continue to do what you've always done and expect a different result. We're 12 years into this project, and I keep saying it, and some people don't seem to hear me. I'm not talking about the last 12 months. I'm talking about the last 12 years. I'll also have you know that after informing the Arts Council Board on May 8th that I was going to make that recommendation on May 19th, and Dan, I do appreciate the recognition of that and the appreciation of that. There seemed to be some to think that I haven't tried to communicate with the Arts Council to talk about this. I'll have you know that that's not the case. I have made myself available. I've reached out to individual members of the Arts Council Board, and even while I was on vacation last week, made myself available for a conversation to talk about how the city and the Arts Council can work together moving forward. And I maintain that both the Arts Council and the city needs to look at what we do and how we do it and why we do it through an entirely different prism. I've made myself available for that conversation. I informed the Arts Council Board on May 8th that I was going to make this recommendation on May 19th. I've not had idea one come from the Arts Council as to how anything would be done differently. I've shared some ideas. I'll stand ready to have any conversation with anybody to talk about the future direction of the use of that facility. But the definition of insanity is to continue to do the same thing and expect a different result. My conscience is clear that we shouldn't do that anymore. That's all I have, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. Auditor Alexander's not here tonight, but Deb Wakefield is. Do you have anything to say?
I'd just like to thank our visitors for taking time to come out tonight and share their views with council.
Thank you. Director Morrison?
No report, thank you.
Okay. We'll start with Mr. Crable down here tonight.
Welcome, visitors. Glad to see a lot of you out here. Thank you.
Mr. Henry.
Yeah, I'd like to welcome visitors and also congratulate Jamie Jones, become a part of the fire department. Thank the mayor and the chief for selecting quality people.
Mr. Cole.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also want to congratulate Jamie Jones for his position as a firefighter and to welcome all of our guests tonight. And thank you for your input and to have you know that I am listening to everything you say, and I want to have a clear conscience when I walk away from this as well. And a part of that for me is protecting the city from any potential legal issues. And I said it in the committee meeting. We've identified a few issues and some very specific, narrow answers to those issues, but there are a whole lot more that needs to be uncovered. And I don't think it's a mistake to take time to do that. And I think that, yes, we do need to be meeting with the Arts Council, and maybe it's not status quo, maybe we can make changes together, but I think that those decisions come, it may not be all or nothing. Maybe there's a way to work together to make it a better place and make it what all of you want. But I think as far as, my vote right now, it's based on protecting the city. And I think that's important. I need to have a clear conscience as well. So, thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too want to congratulate Jamie Jones and thank all the visitors for coming out, the comments. Sometimes it's decisions that we have to make are tough decisions, and without the input, sometimes we just don't know. So it's nice to see that people hear them and they want to come out and tell us how they feel.
Mr. Morrow.
Thank you, Mr. President. Welcome to all the visitors. Good to see a lot of people again. Congratulations to Jamie Jones, who was firefighter. And, in response to the vote that we had for the table, you know, it's been in front of us for 6 weeks, and it's been in operation for 12 years. So I fail to see why we have to hurry. There's a lot to look on both sides. And if I'm going to make a vote, I want to make sure I'm making the right votes.
Mr. Heflin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Welcome to all our visitors this evening. Congratulations to Jamie Jones. Everybody beat me good. He's a good addition to the fire department. The one thing I would like to say, the information that I've received in my box about the Davis Shea House in the last 5 to 6 weeks is more information than I've received in 5.5 years. So I thank you very much. That's all I have.
Thank you. Start down below there, John Miller.
Nothing to add, thank you.
Kim Miller.
Nothing, thank you.
Bob Miller. Nothing. Don Brook.
Nothing.
Chief Mason.
Yeah, I wanted to catch up on some anniversaries. Sergeant Chad Hunt, 16 years in May. And in June, dispatcher Jessica Stevens, 9 years. And dispatcher Don Mellering, 5 years. And sitting with us tonight, Bob Geller, 36 years. It's hard to believe.
What is that? I'm not even that old.
I have nothing, thank you.
I forgot when I introduced him, but Doug Heffley is going to have a birthday on June 28th, and Brian Johnson will have one on July 3rd. And I want to thank everyone again that spoke tonight. Appreciate you coming up, saying your name, and very orderly, very nice, calm, cool, collected. You see a lot of times on TV, news programs, people get fights and arguments and all this kind of stuff. I really appreciate everyone, just the nice decorum and everything. I think it speaks a lot to the city of Heath and everyone that we can act that way. As far as tabling it, again, like everyone said, just want a little bit of time to get some more information that I'm looking for and stuff. So I don't think it's going to hurt anything to wait a couple weeks before we vote on it. That's pretty much it for my comments. New business, there's none. Reading of bids, there's none. Under miscellaneous,
Mr. President,
yeah.
I'd like to request an executive session to discuss contract negotiations, please.
Okay, so we will go into executive session and we'll adjourn out of that. So there's no real reason for you guys to stick around here unless you want to. But this all in favor, say aye. Thanks for coming, everyone.